In this video, I'm going to answer the question, why are wedding invitations so expensive? You are planning a wedding and you're getting all these crazy quotes and you're not exactly sure why. So let's go into the 7 things that will affect wedding invitation costs and how you can reduce those costs if you're interested. In general, I often hear this rumor that people are upcharging just based on something being a wedding. And I just want to say that all of these factors will count no matter what type of invitation you're designing. So I'm going to charge the exact same thing if you need the same quantity, number of pieces, design, etc. for a retirement party as if you need it for a wedding. So lying to your vendors and telling them that it's not a wedding is not actually going to save you any money when it comes to invitation, because you're pretty much getting what you're paying for. So what are the different things that you are paying for? First, there's just going to be quantity. Obviously, 200 invitations is going to cost more than 50 invitations. One thing that I want to caution you on here is some people think that they can get a custom invitation, and just because they only need 15 of them, it's going to be significantly cheaper. However, you're still going to pay for that person's time, setup costs, printing, etc. So one piece, if you're ordering 15, might cost more than if you're ordering 200, but your total cost is often going to be less if you have fewer quantity. So that brings me to number 2, which is your level of design. There are a couple of different levels that are popular. So you have templates that you can DIY, fill out, print yourself, etc. There are semi-custom designs, so the design is kind of set already. You're going to have them input your information and print it out, but the design is mostly where it is, and it doesn't take a ton of time for that designer to customize it for you. And then of course there's custom design, and that's going to be the most expensive option. So as you can see, all of the pricing increases as you're asking a designer to spend more time on it. These designers are experienced, oftentimes have paid a lot for education, spent a lot of time learning. So the more time they have to devote to the design, the more expensive it's going to be. If you like a designer's work, you can always ask them if they have semi-custom or template designs. For instance, I have both template designs that you can DIY for as low as $20 in my shop, or semi-custom invitations that start at $5 or $6 a set. And then custom design starts around $3,500 for about 100 quantity. And just in case you're interested, I am going to link my Etsy shop in the description if you want to check those out. Along with design, you need to pay for the time it takes to assemble your invitation suites. So if you're interested in devoting some of that time yourself and putting everything together, then you might be able to save some money by purchasing a suite that isn't assembled, or asking your designer if you can assemble yourself. Not every designer will allow this because they want you to just receive the perfect pieces and have a really good luxury experience. However, some designers might have some options where you can DIY your assembly. Now, outside of the designer's time and expertise, some things that will affect price include your print methods. If you're going to use gold foil, embossing, letterpress, these are more expensive print methods. Digital printing is going to be a less expensive print method, and you can still do a lot of really beautiful things with it. We have some further videos on this if you want to explore different invitation print methods. In addition to print methods, you also have your materials. This often means paper, but it can also include like wax seals, ribbons. If you are printing on something that's not paper, then that's going to affect cost as well. So paper, typically going to be the cheapest. There are different levels of paper though. So cotton paper is going to typically be more expensive, and double thick or oversized paper will often be more expensive than like your smooth, single thick, standard size invitations. And I mentioned some of these before, but we also have embellishments. So wax seals, belly bands, ribbons, envelope liners, just all kinds of things that you can add onto your invitation suite. The sky is really the limit here, but those do cost money, both in design, materials, and also assembly. So if someone has to design a custom wax seal for you, order the supplies, and then spend the time, putting everything together and making the wax seals, then that's going to be more expensive. This is another area where you could DIY. So if you wanted to order a more simple design and then add some of those embellishments yourself, if you're interested in learning how to make wax seals or tie the ribbon bows or whatever, then you can absolutely save some money by doing it that way. I just want to make a note on wax seals specifically that it is not always as easy as it looks. I have another video on this if you want to check it out. But DIYing your wax seals is one of the last things I would recommend you DIY. Just keep in mind that the people who are charging for this are doing it because they have the materials, they've practiced this a lot, they know what they're doing, and some of these embellishments can be a little bit of a headache to put together if you try to DIY and you've never done it before. And then the last cost that sometimes people don't anticipate is postage. So even an RSVP envelope that requires just a standard forever stamp is over 60 cents these days. So that's almost $1 per piece. If you are sending 100 of them, that's $60. Plus you're still paying for the postage on the outside of the main envelopes. Ways you can cut costs on this are by doing a postcard or even an online RSVP. I don't love to send postcards out to guests because they often get there like totally ripped up. I got one time where the bride's face had been completely ripped off on the picture. So I don't love to do that. I would always protect it in an envelope, but you can use an RSVP postcard because they're sending it back to you. And if it gets to you a little damaged, it's not the end of the world. So love an online RSVP, love a postcard RSVP. That's going to save you on postage a little bit. And then I have some other videos on the main postage for the main invitations, but the basic things you can do are just use more single thick papers, not have as many inserts. If you have a ribbon or a wax seal, then that little bump that it creates can add on an additional surcharge that's called a non-machinable surcharge. So that can make things a little bit more expensive as well. If you keep things kind of like thin and flexible, then you'll be a lot better off from a postage standpoint. One last note I want to make is there's a lot of scam postage going around. So if you see postage that is on sale, I promise you it is a scam. If it's selling for lower than face value, it is absolutely a scam. There's no reason that it would ever be like that. The post office never runs sales. So I do want to help you avoid getting caught in those potential postage scams because it's been popping up a lot lately. So just to recap a little, if you are looking to save money on your wedding invitations, I would pay attention to quantity if it's possible to lower it. You're going to save money everywhere in your wedding if you do that. Design and assembly, however much time you are asking someone to devote to your invitations, it's going to cost a little bit more. If you want something in the middle, I would check out semi-custom wedding invitations, and I'll link my shop in the description of this video. Print methods and paper/materials are going to make a big difference as well. I would stick with digital printing if budget is a concern, and I would stick with things like single thick paper, smooth paper, maybe double-sided print something so that you have fewer pieces. And then embellishments, if you're willing to put in some time to DIY some things, you can really get a luxurious experience for a little bit less. And of course, postage, just keep that in mind throughout, and don't do things that are irregular size, irregular shape, adding that bump or making the envelope not able to bend, because those are things that are going to incur a surcharge. So if this answers the question of why wedding invitations are so expensive, in general, I would say you're kind of getting what you're paying for, as with most other products. This doesn't mean that all wedding invitations are going to be expensive. There's actually so many levels of customization that you can do, but of course you're not going to get like fully custom, fully assembled, perfectly designed invitations with the best print methods for super budget prices. So I hope this helped you understand like the different things that go into it and how you can save some money or find the right budget point that works for you. As with most things, there's a trade-off between the time you're willing to invest and the money that you're willing to invest. So if you are willing to DIY some of your embellishments, maybe print some things yourself, then you can actually invest a little bit of time and end up saving a lot of money and creating some really beautiful, luxurious filling wedding invitations. So let me know what questions you have about your wedding invitations, budget saving tips, design tips, postage tips, etc. And I hope you'll check out some of our other videos on this playlist while you are here. Happy wedding planning!